This documentary discusses the topic on the effects of social media on police brutality and how it is exaggerated in a negative connotation. We will talk about and provide first-hand information from student perspectives, the comparison between the two racial movements, statistics, and surveys, and interviews from credible stakeholders of this topic. This documentary will be a very credible source due to reliable statistics and facts, the use of primary sources such as interviews, and presenting information on social movements that have changed the world's viewpoints.
Yes, a little bit.
Okay. Does this affect the view of police in a positive or negative light?
Negative.
No, social media does not affect how I view police officers because I have my own personal view. I believe that social media paints policemen in a negative light because it gets the bad stuff and the bad stories get the most popularity. So they focus on the bad stuff rather than focusing on the many good things that our police force does. Also, they go towards what will make their political party that they lean towards look better and move and go towards their movement.
So personally, social media does not affect my view of police officers because I build my view of police officers more than just what I see on one platform. I look on social media and news sources and just my own experiences with them. And then I think that social media pits police officers in different directions. It depends on who you look at. Some people will put police officers in a positive light, some will put it in a negative. So I really think it just depends on a case-to-case situation.
I wouldn't say that it affects how I personally view police officers, but I would definitely say that it has an effect on how society views them.
Does this affect the view of police in a positive or negative light, and why?
Probably negative, because I feel like social media always focuses on the bad things that police do, and they don't focus on everything that they do daily that's actually beneficial to us as society.
Yeah, it definitely does, because social media has the ability to be able to post whatever they want, and they're able to specifically tailor what they're posting so that they get the most viewers and they get the most people talking about that topic.
Yes, I do. I feel like it's easy for social media for information to get passed around. Facts are always optional, or people jump to conclusions. It's usually both sides of the spectrum. It's not just pro-police, anti-police. It's a little bit of both that do it, but you definitely see the more of the negative police side being more advanced and push for more progress, I guess you could say. I mean, it's just getting out of control with the light that they're painting police in. Like I said, facts are optional. We saw that with over in Ferguson, where they just jumped to conclusions and ended up coming out that it wasn't exactly how it says. Some witnesses retracted some statements, so then people were left with kind of retracting their feelings at that point.
Has social media amplified this view, and how?
Yes, absolutely. Like I said, it's easy for them to share posts. I mean, anybody can just get on, click of a button to share anything, and most people, haven't had a class where they're taught how to look for credible sources of information. They just immediately read something and then they post it and share it. Like I said, it's both sides of the spectrum. It's not just one or the other, but definitely it's hurt the police more than helped them recently. So I would say it's definitely a big factor.
Black Lives Matter is an international activist movement originating in the African American community that campaigns against violence and systematic racism towards black people. Black Lives Matter regularly holds protests against the police killings of black people and broader issues of racial profiling, police brutality, and racial inequality in the United States criminal justice system. After the death of Trayvon Martin, this movement became nationally recognized. Blue Lives Matter is a pro-police movement in the United States. It was started after the killings of NYPD officers in Brooklyn, New York on December 20th, 2014, after they were ambushed in their patrol car. Blue Lives Matter was formed in reaction to the Black Lives Matter movement, which seeks to end police brutality against the African American community. The Blue Lives Matter organization's mission is to raise awareness and encourage public aid for the needs of police officers, to help police officers assist one another, and to provide a police officer's family with comfort and support as they go through hard times. This campaign is designed to raise both awareness and money for the families in need. This has been turned into the hashtag Blue Lives Matter. As far as trust goes, in a poll conducted by Reuters.com shows that 30.9% of people believe that police routinely lie to protect their own interests. However, 43.8% disagree, while 25.2% are unsure. It shows that 53.1% trust the police to be fair and just, while 27.6% disagree. We took these polls and examined hard, true data. The Washington Post has compiled a database containing names of those killed by police in 2016, which totals to 963 people. The database allows you to filter through different contextual factors, such as if the victim was fleeing, was armed, or unarmed. Out of the 963 killed, only 48 people were unarmed. The other 915 victims were either armed, or it is unclear if they were or not. In a study done by Roland G. Fryer, an economist and professor at Harvard University, Fryer examines thousands of cases from 12 police departments all over the country. In the 63-page document with this raw data, he concluded that minorities have a greater chance than whites of being victims of non-lethal forces, such as hands, force to wall, pepper spray, etc. This corresponds to the Reuters poll, which showed that 69% of African Americans and 54% of Latinos believe that the police unfairly target minorities. As with lethal force, Roland found that there is, quote, no definitive proof of discrimination. For example, in the city of Houston, Texas, there is an equal chance of blacks and whites being shot by police.
Our group conducted a survey that asked, does social media affect how you view police officers, and do you trust the police? 65 students from the University of Kentucky were asked to take part in the survey. For the first question, 43.8% of people asked said that social media did affect how they view police officers, and 56.9% said that did not affect how they view police officers. For our second question, 87.69% of students said they trust the police officers, while 12.31% do not trust the police. This survey shows the division of people's opinions on the police and how social media can curb how people view social issues.
One example of a way that social media is used in a bad way was the Dallas police massacre. On July 7, 2016, 5 white police officers were gunned down by a black veteran named Micah Johnson. The shooter was armed with a sniper rifle, an assault rifle, and a handgun when he began shooting from a parking garage. There was a peaceful protest nearby that was opposed to the recent killings of African Americans by police officers. He shot and killed 5 white police officers and injured 7. These officers were assigned to monitor the protest. The killer's objective was to take out as many white policemen as he could. He had no ties to any protesting groups that supports the Black Panther Party, which is a political party who supports violence against whites. The social media should not be blamed for these killings, but it didn't help that several social media accounts depicted police as savage white killers.
In a positive form of social media use, the Free Hugs project started in spring of 2014. Ken Nwadike started the Free Hugs movement to start sharing sentiments of peace, unity, positivity, and hugs. This is the movement that focuses on subtracting the mean factors of police. This project humanizes the police forces without naming them mean, angry men that run throughout society. By passing out the free hugs, this helps close the gap between the stereotypical bad police and trying to give them the stereotype of nice individuals doing what they can to protect our communities. An article called How to Reduce Police Violence argues that we need to find a way to combat aggressive and often deadly use of force against African Americans. The author proposes that the first step is to find better data on how often the police use physical force against people and under what situations they use them. The next step is removing implicit bias that is found all over social media. The author is trying to raise people's awareness that implicit bias exists and it affects them. When this bias is realized, violence will be reduced across America. So does social media affect your view of the police force? After looking at several different accounts varying from student interviews, polling, and researching different hashtags, we have concluded that social media does to some degree affect how we view the police. This shows how we associate the outliers as a reflection of the whole group. The police who are shown on social media are representing their title as police officer to other civilians who will remember and judge other cops based on how that specific case was depicted. As we have seen through the case studies of the Dallas ambush and the Free Hugs project, there are two sides to this story. We have to decide for ourselves if one perspective is true and the other is false, or if these two sides can meet in the middle and balance out.
That's all, folks.